Hey everybody, this is PastorDustin submitting for DraftMagic.com. Got a new player draft, and I opened up Colonian Hydra, and so really this is a no-brainer. I'm definitely going for the Hydra. The cards that I hate to see go by include Doomblade, and let's see, that's about all I hate to see go by. You've also got Messenger Drake, which is a fine card, Predatory Sliver, a little overcasted Fireball there. So while the time's ticking by, I just thought that I'd point out that in the comment section somebody said that I sound like Mr. Rogers, and I don't actually hear the similarity at all. But Mr. Rogers used to be a Presbyterian pastor, and he actually would have lived in this district if he was still alive today. So we would have hung out with each other at Presbyterian meetings. So in honor of that little comment,
it's a beautiful day in this neighbor.
That's right.
Beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine?
Would you mind?
Would you be mine?
Could you be mine?
It's a neighborly day in this beauty wood. A neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine?
Would you be mine?
Would you be mine?
Alright, so assuming you guys have had enough of that, back here into the second pack. We've got an Active Treason, which could be alright, probably not heading toward the Active Treason deck. We've got a Blightcaster, which is a fine card, maybe not as much in the black-green version of the deck. We've got an Essence Scatter here, and that's a fine combination. I like going blue-green when I can. And I think overall that is probably the strongest card that goes well with my combination. Really, when you've got the Hydra deck, as long as you can get down and protect the Hydra, you're doing pretty well. And so I think if this Ranger's Guile comes back around, I might pick it higher than I usually would, just because it protects the Hydra so well. But for now, I will pick up the Essence Scatter. Okay, coming around, I do have a chance for Ranger's Guile, or a Merfolk Spy, and so it's pretty shallow through here as far as that goes. Elixir Immortality might actually be my pick here. It's not that strong of a card, but there are some things that you can do with green life gain, and it keeps me around long enough to get the Hydra. Other than that, it looks like there's a Quag Sickness, which is a fairly strong card. Obviously not in a tricolor deck. You've also got Pitchburn Devils, which is fairly good. My first thought is to pick up the Elixir just because I will definitely play it, and it might not spin. My second thought is to rip up the Quag Sickness. I think right now I'm going to pick up the Elixir. Not thrilled about it, but that's the pick. Okay, so let's see. There's no strong black in this pack. There is a Hunt the Weak, which is a spectacular card. I'm going to have to pass up the Sensory Depth and a cancel for that. Coming back around, I might get the Howl of the Night, depending on how heavy green it is. But for right now, I'm pretty happy to pick up the removal and Hunt the Weak. Alright, the pack has spun, and I am happy to see that there's all different kinds of blue and green. I've got Brindleboar, Predatory Sliver, Messenger Drake, and Train Condor that I'm all excited about. Let's put Cost Sort here. It's a little early to be filling out the curve at too high of a pick order. So I think I'm just going to get what seems to be the best card in this and get Messenger Drake. I think behind that is Predatory Sliver in this style deck, and then maybe Train Condor after that, and then the Brindleboar probably just continue to spin. But right now I'll pick up the 3/3 flyer. Okay, I was right, the Ranger's Guile did spin. We still see that Blightcaster sticking around. And there's nothing I'm too excited about getting when this comes back. There's a chance I would play Lay of the Land, but other than that, I'm not very excited about any of this. Okay, so Quag Sickness is still in this pack. Someone has passed that up. So I'm going to cut that so somebody doesn't go into black late and get the Quag Sickness, because there's nothing else in this deck that I'm that excited about playing. I don't need the second Ranger's Guile, so I'll just try to cut some removal. Okay, here I have a choice between low end on the curve Sensory Deprivation and Howl of the Night. Do a quick color sort. Right now it's 3-2. I think what I would rather have right now is the Sensory Dep. I'm either going to get the Cancel or the Howl of the Night back. But for now I'll go a little heavier on the removal. Okay, here I get a choice. Somebody snapped up the Sliver. I get a choice between Brindleboar and Train Condor. I'm going to pick up Train Condor, especially since with the Hydra, that's a quick beating. Here, everything is garbage. I don't know if I have any triggered abilities that are really good. Actually, I've got a lot of triggered abilities, a lot of whenevers here. Whenever it dies, whenever it attacks, whenever it attacks. So I'll pick that up for now. I don't think it'll make the cut. I've never played with it before, but we'll see if I get a whole bunch of whatevers. Here, let's see. I think the Merfolk Spy is the best sideboard card. If it comes back around, I'll pick up the Rod of Ruin. Get a late cancel. Let's see, do I have a lot of X1s? I've got a Trained Condor. I don't have a lot of creatures in general right now, only 4. I've got a Merfolk Spy. So I'll pick up the Shrivel instead of the Fortify. The Fortify does not get enough love. That card can be a blowout. I will let someone pick up the Staff. I'm always happy to see somebody play a Staff. And an island. Okay, so after our first pack, we've got a Bomb. We do have some removal with Hunt the Weak, Essence Scatter, and Sensory Deprivation. We've got a little bit of counter magic and a larger creature. So far so good. I've got 9 solid picks. 14 more to go. So I don't have a lot of great things here to pick from. I do have a Sea Kite, which I think that I value higher than most people. So that one might end up being the pick. I've also got a Windstorm. Windstorm is not great when you hit your own creatures, but it might be something that I take on the way back. I've got Giant Growth, which is a nice combat trick, but I'm low on my creature count right now, so I think it's probably more important that I pick up the Sea Kite, and that is a trick when you can play it well. So for now, I will pick up the Sea Kite. Awesome, I have an opportunity. Okay, so there's an opportunity there. It means that I have to pass up an Advocate of the Beast. Do I have any beasts so far? No, so far no beasts. But even if it's just 2-3 for 2, it's not terrible. But this one's an easy windmill slam on the opportunity. I'll either get the Advocate of the Beast, Warden, or Trained Condor on the way back. Negate would probably also be decent. But for now, easy pick, opportunity. Ooh, that's a good one. But not in our colors, and there's plenty else to do. I've got Claustrophobia, Time Ebb, Messenger Drake, Phantom Warrior, Verdenhaven. So this pack is loaded for me. I'm going to spin at least 2 good cards off of this. I think the best one is just the straight-up removal in Claustrophobia. Although I am a big fan of Time Ebb, particularly later in the game if you've got a counterspell to back it up. Then it's a nice tempo play as well. But I think for now I'm going to pick up the Claustrophobia. I will be happy to pick up whatever is left of these, or if I have to get a Phantom Warrior. But for right now, just load up on the removal. Okay, so there is a Predatory Sliver going around. Whoever got that first one hasn't gotten the second one yet. I'm going to have to pass at Mark of the Vampire. Don't have the colors for that. Also Bog Brew and Quag Sickness. So there's a lot of good black going around right now. But Predatory Sliver is probably the strongest. Other than that, I may pick up a Plummet as a sideboard card. I don't think that this is a Frost Breath deck. I'd prefer this to be more of a controlling deck. So for now, I will pick up the Predatory Sliver, because I am sorely missing a 2-drop and something to hold down their early game. Okay, so we make it back around. I've got a Windstorm here. I do have a lot of flyers, and since Windstorm is instant, when the Condor picks something up, it can get windstormed unexpectedly. So I'm going to pick this up knowing that the Giant Growth will probably spin, but I'm going to keep this just out of the pool because I have so many flyers. Alright, coming back around, I've got Warden. Speaking of so many flyers, this one really accelerates my game. Lets me get into the Messenger Drake a turn early, or if I whiff on land, play that Sea Kite unexpectedly. I still got Trained Condor, but I've already got one, and Negate. Hopefully that Negate will come back around. In the meantime, I am very happy to pick up the Warden. Oh man, another Messenger Drake or a Time Ebb. Time Ebb is one of my pet cards. I love this guy. It's good tempo, it's good removal, but I think it's more likely to come back around than the Messenger Drake is, so I'll pick that up. If I was short on cards, since this is more of a Sky-style deck, this might actually make a cut just as something that has 5 toughness. Normally I would never dream of playing this card, but you can get those good Skies decks that have a lot of evasion in the sky and things to block on the ground. So for now I'm going to pick up this Messenger Drake, hopefully accelerated by a Warden. Okay, in my colors I only have Merfolk Spy or Frost Breath. I could also pick off a second Quag Sickness or Mark of the Vampire. If I got mana fixing, I could play the Mark. And generally when you play the Mark, you don't lose the game. You know, if this could go on, even something as modest, like what's my worst flyer here? Like Train Condor, then a 4/3 lifelink can swing the game around pretty quickly. So rather than take that Quag Sickness, I'm going to take the card that I could possibly play, and then I'm going to pick up the Fixer. There's nothing else in here that I'm that wild about. I'm not a sliver deck. I do have one sliver, but you've got to be a really dedicated sliver deck to play this monstrosity. So I'm going to stay away from that, pick up the Grotto. There's a possibility that I splash black for that Mark of the Vampire. Here it's an easy negate. And Time-Ebb made it late. Maybe that Haven will come around if I want to do some mana fixing, but I'm much more interested in playing the solid card in my colors that I will always play than picking up the Fixer to possibly get in some splashes like Mark. Okay, here, Merfolk Spy could be played. Probably not Congregate in my style of deck, although it would be nice to stall to get up to Hydra, but for now I'll just pick up the sideboard card in the Merfolk Spy. Vile Rebirth. I won't splash for it, but it's better than having somebody else get it. Okay, so now we go in, we've got 19 cards including the land, so we're really drafting to improve. We're sitting in a pretty good situation right now. Terrible. Good for stall. Oh, Essence Scatter though. You know, I would like to get the wall. I'm a little loaded up on my 3-drops here, as you can see. But I think that the Essence Scatter is the best card overall. So I'll pick up this Essence Scatter. The wall will probably make it back around. And then other than that, I've got the Cancel and the Negate in this pack. Nothing to speak of for green. Speaking of which, let's do a quick color sort. Wow, green is really low. And because green is really low, I probably shouldn't pick up the 3rd Messenger Drake that quickly, but go for the Hunt the Weak in this pack. Other than that, there's a Cancel, but I'll have plenty of those. Nothing else is in my colors or splashable. So here we go for the Hunt the Weak, which is going to be less good in the 7-creature deck, so I really do need to get on those creatures. Preferably some beefy green ones I should pick up early in the pick order. So we'll get back to cost sort. Let's see, turn 2 I have a creature, just a single creature. And then after that, I don't have a whole lot to be hunting with. The Warden is the beefiest one there, so my turn 2s and 3s only have 2 toughness apiece. So I'm really going to need something with a little bit more beef in it to round out this deck. So I probably wouldn't play him in the same turn, but Enlarge would make something beefier. I've got a lot of strong picks in this pack. I've got the Scroll Thief, which is nice, especially if you can get it in with the Train Condor, or tap something down right before you swing in with it. So normally I would snap that up. However, there's also some quick mana fixing here, which gets us to the 3-drops, or the 4-drops a little bit faster, which is nice. So it's between the Mana Weft Sliver, the Enlarge, which isn't necessarily as good if you play it on a flyer, just because they don't always have something to block. So, mana fixing, possible removal, but maybe just extra damage, or card draw is the question. I think that the Mana Weft Sliver is probably the one that is most playable for me since I'm just splashing green. So I'm going to go with that, and we'll almost certainly see the Scroll Thief back around, probably not the Enlarge. Okay, speaking of green things that I should pick up for mana acceleration, there is an Elvish Mystic here. The Tusker would be excellent if I wasn't splashing green and that was a doubled blue 2-drop. So that is the beef that I need. I'm just not sure that I'm going to be able to get it down on turn 2. And again, there's that Scroll Thief. I'm going to leave the Scroll Thief be, because I think that less people are fighting over blue. So the question is, do I go with what I believe is usually higher in the pick order than the Elvish Mystic, or get the Tusker right off the bat? I think what I want here is the Mystic. If the Tusker comes back around, having the Mystic will make it easier to play on that second turn. Okay, so now here I've got a choice between Wall of Frost, Negate, and Cancel. I already have a Negate and a Cancel. I don't have the Wall of Frost. So I believe I'll pick that up. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see this Negate and Cancel spin back around, so it's not too big of a question. So for now I'll pick up the Wall of Frost. That puts me to 24 with the land. So I'm pretty well set. You get yet another Messenger Drake. Nobody's touching blue at all. This Mark of the Vampire here, I'm not sure that I'll play that. I do have one Mana Weft Sliver and one Shimmering Grotto. Got a Bubbling Cauldron that doesn't do much for me in this deck. And a choice between Scroll Thief, Trollhide, Naturalize, and Bramble Crush. Scroll Thief is the best one for me in this deck. It is nice to be able to do something like turn 1 Elvish Mystic, turn 2 Scroll Thief. And then if you can, get a turn 3 cancel or something like that off of it, then you just start rolling. So let's take a color sort look again. So that's about 2-to-1 blue to green. Alright, here's yet another Mark of the Vampire going around. I also have a Trollhide that I could use. And that's about it. I think I'm going to take the Mark just to keep it out of somebody's hands, whether or not I end up playing them. Alright, here I've got a cancel. If I wanted to splash 1 or 2 Marks, I could get a Lay of the Land here. And that could help me out a little bit with some of these doubles as you go up through. But for now, I'll pick a cancel. I don't know that I'll start both cancels, but it's something nice for the sideboard. Here there's absolutely nothing I'm interested in, but I will cut a flyer. Okay, so I could conceivably use any of these with the exception of the Bubbling Cauldron. This one, just in case they have Intimidate. Sideboard. I could play this, so it would make things a little bit bigger for my Hunt the Week. I think right now I'm just going to stick with Yeah, I'll stick with Sideboard and Naturalize. Get that Trollhide I was thinking about. Get a creature. And then find a land. Couple of planes. Okay, let's see what this ends up looking like. Okay, so I've got this laid out with 22 cards. So I'm looking for my 23rd card. Up above, I've got all of my creatures. Down below, I've got all my spells. And so right now, what I'm really looking at is whether or not I play this card that I always just pass over. So it's Copy Target Triggered Ability. So looking at all of the triggered abilities here, we have, let's see, Train Condor, so you could pay 2 to make something else fly. Scroll Thief, you could pay 2 to draw another card. The Hydra, you could pay 2 to do absolute overkill, and double the counters. So let's see, it comes in what with 4. So if it attacks, it would get up to 8, and then you copy it, so it would get up to 16. So you can make that swing for 16 on its first turn, if you wanted to, or you could draw a card off of the Messenger Drake. I'm tempted to do this just because I've got several targets and I've never done it before. Other possibilities is I've got Trollhide here. I've only got 12 creatures, so I'm not wild about the idea of playing an aura in the deck. I'll leave out the Naturalize for the sideboard. I do have the Elixir of Immortality, which would help. I've got several things that are going to go to the graveyard, some Essence Scatters, Negate, Time Ebb, Cancels, that sort of thing. So I do have a lot of things that could get shuffled back in. It would be nice to gain some life to buy time for my bombs, but I don't really have anything other than just having the life itself that plays well with the life gain. Windstorm I'll leave in the board in case I play a really bizarre deck that I would want a Windstorm for. I'm tempted to get the Ranger's Guile in there to protect my Hydra. Merfolk Spies will stay in unless I play a blue deck, and I thought that just 1 cancel would be enough to start with. So the question is, what is my 23rd card out of all of these? I am too hesitant to start the Resonator. I think I'm going to possibly board that in. I'm going to see what my game 1s look like, and to see if I had that extra 2 mana lying around when I needed it. And then if I've got the mana laying around, then I think that I'll put that one in there. I do also have the possibility of getting in some Mark of the Vampires if I wanted to splash the Grotto there. But other than that, I think that my 23rd card out of this lot is going to be the Ranger's Guile. So we'll stick that there. Add some land, see what the suggestion is. 12-5, huh? Let's see, my only double green card is the Hydra. So, if I've got 5 in a 40 card deck, that's 1 out of 8 cards. So by the time I've drawn my 8th card, I should be hitting 1 forest. By the time I draw about my 16th, I should be on 2 for the Hydra. Now I do also have the Elvish Mystic and the Mana Weft Sliver, so that bumps that up. So I think normally I would want to change it a little bit more. I'm just going to give one more forest and one less island for this. And I'll submit this, and I will see you in round 1.